I'm going to show you how to knit I-cords with double pointed needles because it's really easy. But I'll also show you, you know, with conventional knitting needles, because not everybody's got double pointed needles and they might not want to run out and buy some just for knitting sloth claws. But I'm going to show you how to do it. These are the knitting needles. These are ordinary 4mm knitting needles. They're just straight ones with a bobble on the end. And they're nice short ones, actually. They're nice for knitting small things. And these are the 4mm double pointed needles. And you can see both ends has a point. So no bobble on the end. And these ones are 4mm, the same size. I suppose if you're sock making and things, you don't usually have a 4mm double pointed needle. But I bought these specially for my I-cords, actually. And I found them on Amazon and they weren't very expensive. I think they were under £3. I'm going to start the I-cords first with the conventional knitting needles. And this is the colour that is graphite. Stylecraft Special DK Graphite. And that's what colour the claws are in. And you only need 4 stitches. So I just cast on 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Right. And now we begin the I-cord. So the first row is just an ordinary knit row. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you don't turn the work. You slip those stitches back onto this needle and give it a bit of a tug. You pull that because you're wanting the knitting to curl up so the 2 row end edges meet at the back. So give that a bit of a tug. And when you do your first stitch, give it a tug again and make it nice and a tight stitch, that one, to encourage the knitting, and then you knit across again. Right, so that's your second row, and now we have to slip the stitches back onto the first needle. So hang on, and then give it a tug, and we do the first stitch and we give it a tug. And when the knitting, you know, when you're making I-cords, it looks like, you know, when you were a kid and you did French knitting on a knitting dolly, you know, with pegs at the top, and you wrap the wool round and passed it over. That's row 3. And then we slide the stitches back. Yeah, and you use those knitting dollies. And it comes out like a long snaky thing, you know, like a solid bit of knitting. That's what I-cords look like. Right, so that's row 4, and we slide them back. Now you can see with this, I'm spending quite a bit of my time transferring stitches from one needle to the next. Give it a tug. And that's row 5. I've just got to do one more row. You can see, look, it's joined at the back. So it's like a solid bit of knitting now. And you pass it back. So at no point do you turn the work. You're always working from the front. Make that stitch tight, the first one. And then knit across. So that's row 6. And that's as long as the claws need to be. Just 6 rows. And see, there's no sewing up, and see how it's completely closed at the back. That's where the row end edges have come together and joined. And oh, I've just got to find a pair of scissors. So we cut the yarn. Thread up a needle. And this is thread and draw. So you thread through. That's all the stitches off the needle. And look, it's made a loop. And you go through the loop and draw up. And that closes the top. I've got a bit of a funny bit there. But anyway, so that completes the claw. And there's no sewing to do, which is brilliant. And it's super neat. I mean, you know, if you were to do that with a seam down it, it wouldn't be that neat. And once it's sewn onto the actual foot or hand, you won't be able to see where the row ends are at all. Well, there aren't row ends now, are there? But that is doing it when you're using straight needles. Now I'm going to show you again with the double pointed needles. So here's the graphite again. Cast on 4 stitches. Now, what people don't like about double pointed needles is, I think, because it doesn't seem natural, but also they're always worried that you're going to lose the stitches off the end. But I mean, you can see 4 stitches on this needle. There's no way you're going to lose them. They're not accidentally going to fall off. Right, so first we knit across these stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, we're not transferring them. We're simply going to slide them up the other end of the needle, and we do the next row. Give it a tug as before, just to get it to come round and join up. So that's row 2. And we slide it up. This is row 3. Make that stitch tight. So that's row 3. And this is row 4. See, it's so much quicker without having to transfer the stitches back. So it does make the knitting quicker because your stitches are almost instantly ready for the next row. There's no faffing about. So it's brilliant in that respect. But, you know, if you don't own a pair of double pointed needles, it would mean you'd, you know, have to buy some. But you can, this is my 6th row. So that's it. So I've knitted the claw so much quicker. I've got the same effect. So that just needs thread and draw, and that'll be another claw finished. So it makes it much quicker, much easier. And, you know, there's no fear that it's going to fall off the edge. And if it does, it's only 4 stitches. So it's a great way, you know, if you are nervous about double pointed needles, it is a great, you know, gateway into using them and getting over the initial shock of, oh my God, there's no bobble at the end, you know. So try it. Try double pointed needles just for I-cords and see how you get on, because it's really easy, super quick, and, you know, it'll increase your skill base. You get used to using a new tool, and that's, you know, great. That's all knitters want to be, you know, increasing their skill set and getting better at, you know, what they enjoy. And it's a nice step forward. You'll feel a sense of achievement. It'll look great, and it's just brilliant.